There was no malware, no phishing email, no stolen laptop, no alert. Someone opened a remote support session to a machine inside your client's network, using a support account that was supposed to be there. Everything your tooling saw was a technician doing their job. That's the part worth sitting with. Here's the shape of it, without the vendor name, because the vendor is not the lesson. A widely deployed remote monitoring and management platform had an authentication bypass, an alternate path into the console that skipped the login. From there, an attacker had administrative access to the management server. And then, they did not need an exploit at all. They used the product's own remote control feature, the one you use every day, to reach the endpoints that server manages, and to leave something behind that would survive a reboot. Compromise an endpoint, and an attacker owns an endpoint. Compromise the management plane, and they own every endpoint it manages. And if you are an MSP, that is not one company. It is your entire book. This is the arithmetic that makes management tooling different from every other box on the network. A workstation is a room. Your RMM is the master key cabinet, and it is on the internet, because it has to be. Now the uncomfortable part. Nothing in that chain looks like an attack. The remote control session is a legitimate feature. The account used, in at least one confirmed case, was a default support account that ships with the product, tied to real support sessions. The outbound tunnel was set up with a legitimate, widely used tunneling utility. A real tool, signed, doing exactly what it's built to do. Your endpoint detection sees a support session. Your firewall sees an outbound connection to a well-known service. Your audit log sees a support account, supporting. Every control was working. None of them were wrong. They were just answering a question nobody asked. So what actually separates the attacker from your technician? Not the tool, the context around it. A support session at 3 in the morning on a Sunday. A session sourced from a consumer-VPN exit node, rather than your office or your VPN. A default account name that nobody on your team actually uses, because your people all have named accounts. And a session that connects, enumerates what's running, and disconnects. Because reconnaissance looks nothing like support. None of those are alerts today in most shops. All four are answerable questions you can start asking this week. Here's the turn, and it's the part I would tattoo on the inside of the ticket queue. The flaw being exploited exists because the first fix was incomplete. There was an earlier vulnerability. It was patched. The patch did not fully close the path. So a second identifier was issued for the same underlying way in, and that second one is what attackers are using, which means there's a population of teams who did everything right, applied the update, closed the ticket, and were still exposed. Fonting is not a state you reach. It's a hypothesis you haven't tested yet. So verify, like you would a restore. Check the version on the host itself, not in the console that reports on itself. The dashboard is a claim. The host is the fact. Confirm it on every instance, not the one you remember. Where the vendor documents the specific path that was closed, test that path, rather than assuming the version number covers it. And check the advisory again a week later, because incomplete fixes are usually discovered after the first wave of patching, not before. Then ask the questions that outrank any feature comparison. Does your management console share an identity system with your domain so that one takeover becomes two? Is multi-factor enforced on the console itself and not only on the email account of the person who logs into it? Can any technician launch remote control on any endpoint at any hour? Or is that scoped and scheduled? Does the management server have unrestricted outbound access? Can it open a tunnel to anywhere it likes? And is there one place where a remote session gets recorded that an administrator of that same server cannot quietly edit? And because this was exploited before it was cataloged, forward-looking controls are only half the job. Go backwards. Pull remote session history for the last 90 days. Look at the hours and the source addresses. Look for tunneling utilities registered as services on machines that have no business running them. Look for executables sitting in user document folders wearing system file names. Search your endpoints for persistence you did not create. You are not looking for a hit. You are looking to be able to say, you looked, and what you found. Then write it down, because this is the part that pays you twice. version confirmed, number of instances checked, the date, who checked, what test proved the path was closed. We're patched is a mood. That record is an artifact. The same artifact, a cyber insurance application, a client security questionnaire, and your own future self are all going to ask for. You already did the work. Spend the extra 4 minutes that turns it into evidence. The whole thing is packaged, free, the management plane kit, an RMM hardening checklist covering identity, remote control scoping, egress, and logging, a patch verification log template you can hand to an auditor, the 4 tells as a starting detection list, and the 90-day retro hunt worksheet. Grab it at thesecuritygator.com. Check your version on the host. Ask who can launch a remote session at 3 a.m. and write down what you find. Because a control you can't evidence is a control you're only assuming you have.